Hello, algebra students. Mr. Lawrence here with your flipped lesson. This will be the start of Unit 3. Real easy start to it. It's going to be a long unit. There's a lot that goes on in this chapter, but I got to tell you, you guys are so smart. I'm ahead of the pace that I've had in the past, and that's a good thing because we'll be able to spend a little more time on some of this stuff and make sure you've really mastered it. All right, today we are going to be, or tomorrow actually, you'll be solving equations for variables. Your book calls it solving literal equations. Now, one thing I like to do, especially when I'm new at this, is I look at problem number 1 and I see y equals kx, and it tells me to solve for x. We know y and k and x are really numbers. Yeah, I know they're all variables, but they're numbers. We don't know what numbers they are. So I circle this x, and my job right now is to get x alone. If this problem said 5 equals, I don't know, 2x, you would divide both sides by 2, right? And then x would end up equaling 5 over 2, or maybe you'd say 2.5. That's all this problem is. That's all it is. I'm going to get x alone. I know that k is keeping the x from being alone. It's attached by multiplication. Two letters next to each other means multiply, just like 2x means 2 times x. So I'm going to divide by k on both sides. Now, some of you are going to freak and go, I don't know how to do that. It's simple. K's cancel. The right-hand side has x. The left-hand side has y over k. You can't do anything else because you don't actually know the values of y and k. That's it. It's a cake problem. All right, let's look at problem number 2. I've got this equation, a plus bc equals d. I'm going to solve for b. Well, b is my variable. My job is to get b alone. What variables are keeping the b from being alone? Well, there's an a over here, and that a is positive, so it's attached by addition. And there's a c over here, and that c is attached by multiplication. So just like in the other problems, I'm going to undo the addition first. Remember to listen to Saddam. Undo addition and subtraction and addition before I undo division multiplication. And I'm going to subtract a from both sides. Now, don't make this hard. These cancel, leaving me with b, c, and the right-hand side becomes d minus a. How do I do that? You write down d minus a. It's that simple. You don't have to know the value. You just write down d minus a. All right, now b is still not alone. It's attached to c by multiplication, so I'm going to divide. I'm going to divide by c on both sides. One thing you want to be careful, make sure you divide the entire right-hand side by c, not just one of the terms. And so the answer becomes b is equal to d minus a over c. Now, some of you are wondering why. Why are we doing this? Well, there are many famous formulas which require you to solve for a variable. One of the most famous is like E equals mc squared. Okay, that's Einstein's theory of relativity. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. C is the speed of light, and light is very, very fast. All right. By the way, I'll tell you what, I'll add problem 4 on here since this is a quick video, and we'll solve that. Maybe we'll solve that for C. We'll solve for C. But we'll go ahead and do problem number 3 over here. Hopefully you recognize this formula. If you don't, it's circumference. Somebody was asking me in one of my classes where pi comes from. We're going to solve this equation for pi and find out. So let me see here. I want to get the pi alone. And it looks like a 2 is attached by multiplication, and an r is attached by multiplication. Well, because multiplication is commutative, meaning that 3 times 4 is the same as 4 times 3, I can change the order here. And I can write this as 2r pi. I did that because now I can think of 2r as one set number, and I can do it in less steps. I need to get pi alone. I'm going to divide by 2r, because 2r is some number. And then on the left-hand side, I've got to divide by 2r. So, the formula then becomes, or the equation then becomes c divided by 2r. Geez, that looks like a pi there. Let me change that. And that's going to equal pi. And there you go. Pi is the circumference divided by twice the radius. Or, more famously, pi is the circumference divided by the diameter. Twice the radius is the diameter. I do expect you to already know that, being that you're in honors algebra. Twice the radius is the same as the diameter. All right, let's go over to problem number 4 here, and then we'll wrap this video up. I have to solve for c. Now I have an exponent on it, and I have an m attached by multiplication. Well, exponents don't show up in Saddam, but if I continue the order of operations backwards, subtract, add, divide, multiply, exponents, parentheses, because I'm going backwards through the order of operations. So what I'm going to do is undo the multiplication first, divide by m, and I will get the equation e over m equals c squared. And then to undo the exponent, I'm going to take the square root. If it was a cube, I'd take the cubed root, but since it's a square, I'll take the square root. Now, later on in the class, you'll learn that we never write a square root like this. We'll do something called rationalizing the denominator. But for right now in this class, we're going to go ahead and do that. And then later on, I'll show you how we do what the accepted way in math is. You're not quite ready for it. All right, that's the video for tonight. Tomorrow you get some practice. The homework should be super simple. And Mr. Lawrence is going to sign off right now. Have a good night, everybody.